In the first part of Module 4, we took a look at media and socialization, and the role of media as an information source in shaping values. Now we're going to take a look at other ways that media influences what we believe. We've talked about how media can shape attitudes, perceptions, and beliefs. This relates to the earlier concepts of noise, linkage, concentration of ownership, establishing values, and the information and entertainment role of media. Researchers believe that the media can determine attitudes when three things happen. First is when the same ideas, the same people, or the same behavior occur consistently in the media. Through selective perception or concentration of ownership, we see the same ideas over and over and over again. We're not born with attitudes and opinions about people. We learn them. As we discussed in Storytellers, we learn our values at first from our family, our friends, and our bounded culture. But for each generation, the media plays an increasingly important role in shaping those values. Since the turn of this century, where did our family and our friends and our bounded culture learn their attitudes? Often from the media. So the media can have both a direct and an indirect influence on us. As we discussed in Noise and Gatekeepers, it's really easy to let the media think for us. Finding information, evaluating that information, forming logical, independent conclusions is hard work. It's often easier just to adopt someone else's ideas. It's often easier just to let someone else do our thinking for us. It's often easier just to let our emotions control our beliefs. And it's so easy to manipulate your emotions with the media. More and more, what we believe is built on lies and fear. And we'll look at this in much more detail when we talk about advertising. The second thing that must happen for media to influence your belief is that you have to be exposed to lots of it. As you can see from your diary assignment, media consumption is hard to measure. But one estimate indicates Americans now spend over 12 hours a day with media. Increased use of tablets and smartphones has driven much of that increase. Your diaries show you're good at spotting the obvious consumption of media, making an active choice to sit down and consume. But most of you underestimated the unconscious or accidental consumption of media. It's the combination of active and passive consumption that leads to 12 hours. Repeated exposure to the same ideas makes it easy to adopt those ideas. And that's one of the first rules of propaganda. Say it over and over and over again until people believe it. And, as I'm fond of saying, a lie is as good as the truth if people believe it. The third major factor that allows media to influence our beliefs is having limited exposure to other ideas. You can see how this relates to the first two factors. We associate with people who think like us. We consume media that reflects what we already believe. Often, we don't reject alternative ideas. We just don't hear them. But when we do hear them, we often reject them because they don't reinforce our preconceptions. This is how cultural myths are created. This is how false becomes true. This is how your behavior can be influenced by the behavior of someone else.